Chapter 581. Advanced to 6 Edge, Difficulty Finding a Gu Tester. Fang Yuan was a vigilant person. He had always felt that everyone else in this world was unreliable. The only dependable person was himself. Thus, he researched the 6-arm Heavenly Zombie King killer move the moment he obtained it. This killer move was originally created based on the foundation he provided. Furthermore, during these few days, with Mo Yao's guidance, his refinement path attainment was deepening, and his perspective had widened greatly. Right now, he had a great understanding of the concept of 6-arm Heavenly Zombie King. It was clear as water to him. At this moment, he looked at the completed killer move without any experiments. He knew that this killer move was close to perfection. Mo Yao had reduced many supplementary goo worms from the original base, while keeping the core and the 6 zombie goo unchanged, only adding several supplementary goo worms in. Sensing the ingenuity of this, Fang Yuan praised endlessly. In his mind, Mo Yao's will explained, this is all thanks to the intention Guan Pan and Chang. With their experience and insight, I could refine this move to such an extent. We have reached an extreme level of perfection. As long as the time does not exceed 30 minutes, no matter how many times you activate the killer move, it will not accumulate zombie energy in your body and cause zombie speckles to grow. Fang Yuan nodded, knowing that Mo Yao's words were true. This killer move was truly refined to its limits. According to this line of thinking, it had already reached its strongest potential. Unless he added immortal goo in the future, or changed the core goo. But if he added immortal goo in, this would destroy the original coordination of the goo. He would need to reassemble it, and the move would become completely different. It would truly be a situation of pull one hair, and the whole body moves. If he changed the core goo, that would be going into another line of thought. The new killer move would be completely different. Rather than calling it 6-arm Heavenly Zombie King, he might as well give it another name. In all, the killer move 6-arm Heavenly Zombie King, be it the core goo, the zombie goo, or the supplementary goo, they were being used to their fullest potential. There was no way to refine this further, even though there were still backlashes from using it. If one exceeded 30 minutes, the zombie energy would cause great damage to the goo master's body. If the time was too long, the goo master might even turn into a zombie. But this was a problem caused by inappropriate usage by the goo master. It could be avoided. The reason was that even if this move was used many times, it would not accumulate the zombie speckles. If the goo master activated the move multiple times in a period of time, they could potentially sustain the killer move for a long duration. Except, Fang Yuan was still not satisfied with this huge result. If you have any other ideas to refine this killer move, this grandmaster here is willing to listen. Mo Yao laughed eerily. At this point, 6-arm Heavenly Zombie King is at its limit. There is nothing to improve. But there is still one part that I am not satisfied with. That is the backlash of the killer move. Fang Yuan said. After the improvement, the current 6-arm Heavenly Zombie King's power has doubled, and the duration has reached 30 minutes. It is sufficient for you to handle anything in this mortal realm. What are you dissatisfied with? You must know, any killer move represents the combination usage of goo worms. Since it is the use of goo worms, there has to be weaknesses. A killer move's backlash cannot be avoided. They are only different in terms of severity. This strength path killer move's power is at the top 5 of killer moves in my memory. Don't be too greedy. Mo Yao lectured. Fang Yuan snorted. His potential enemies were goo immortals, beings who surpassed mortals. With 6-arm Heavenly Zombie King, even if Fang Yuan abandoned his enslavement path, he could still dominate the mortal realm. But it was far from sufficient to deal with goo immortals. Battling an immortal as a mortal, this aim was too arrogant. It was too much for people to believe. Fang Yuan had no intentions of informing Mo Yao about this. Immediately after, he said, preparedness ensures success, and unpreparedness spells failure. If one day, because of a peculiar situation, I overuse the killer move and become a zombie, what happens? I am also clear that the killer move 6-arm Heavenly Zombie King cannot be improved further. But now, my goal is to resolve this weakness. Mo Yao finally understood Fang Yuan's intention. She sunk into silence. Fang Yuan was young and arrogant. Mo Yao did not expect that he had such a cautious side. To speak the truth, Mo Yao was looking at him in a different light now. This lad, he has talent, resources, and opportunities. He has great perseverance and is able to lower his head when needed. On one hand, he advances bravely, while on the other hand, he is cautious and vigilant, always considering all sides of the matter. This lad, one day, he will definitely shake the world. She was silent for a short time. Soon, Imoya said, "It is very troublesome to resolve this backlash. Six-armed heavenly zombie king is not an ordinary zombie. The zombie energy is extremely thick. Once the goo master transforms, they cannot even use yin-yang rotation goo. As a refinement grandmaster, is there nothing you can do?" Fang Yuan did not believe her. Imoya did not fall for his taunting. She spoke in a calm manner. "I need a rank 5 goo master to fully transform into the six-armed heavenly zombie king, after which I will experiment on their body. I need this test subject to cooperate with me fully, and I need to have full control over their condition in terms of body, mind, and personal experience. These are all important information that I need to consider." Imoya did not want to ponder about this deeply as it would expend too many of her thoughts. She used the same method again, planning to use people as experimental fodder. They would replace her thinking and undergo the most crucial steps for her. Fang Yuan frowned. "Rank 5 goo master? And a fully cooperative one? That's right. It would be best if they are willingly doing it. Because if slavery goo is used to control them, their emotions would be affected, their experience and feelings when turning into a zombie would be ruined." This was troublesome. If Fang Yuan wanted to resolve the problem of six-armed heavenly zombie king, he would need to find a rank 5 goo master, and they would need to be cooperative and listen to Fang Yuan, risking their lives to undergo this experiment. Where was Fang Yuan going to find such a person? 3 days later, central control room. From the ink whirlpool, the owner token rose up and flew into Fang Yuan's hands, activating the refinement path killer move ink transformation once again. 5-edge owner token had transformed into 6-edge. Fang Yuan was both happy and worried. Happy because he had the 6-edge owner token. Once Heilu Land's owner token becomes 4-edge, he would be able to snatch it and form the 10-edge owner token. With a 10-edge owner token, he could obtain one of Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's true inheritances. An immortal venerable inheritance had a huge attraction to almost anybody. Worry was because Fang Yuan had expended almost all his resources to undergo this 6th ink transformation. In order to accumulate funds, he had sold the immortal goo remnant recipes again and caused these remnant recipes to have no value left. At the same time, he sold large numbers of rockmen, fox groups, wolf groups, goo worms, and even the precious hairy men and some air bubble fish, like the rank 4 emotion poetry goo, golden dragon goo, golden breeze goo, as well as rank 5 goo including multiple spring egg goo, Vidra stare goo, turn gold goo, soft bones goo, pitch black goo, and hints and clues goo. Right now, I only have the enslavement and strength path goo worms left in my aperture. In Who Immortal Blessed Land, I have Bloodsea Ancestors True Inheritance, rank 4 Blood Skull goo, as well as rank 3 Bone Flesh Unity goo, and the Yang goo left after using Yin goo of the Yin Yang rotation goo. Other than that, I still have some Stargate goo, Whole Earth goo, Connecting Heaven goo, Divine Sense goo, Burial Soul Toad, and some supplementary goo. These goo are all of utmost importance. They could not be sold. Some were absolutely necessary. He needed them in the future. Who Immortal Blessed Land was almost squeezed dry by me. It needs to recover. But now that I have the 6-edge owner token, I can control 6 floors and 88 True Yang building as I wish. All of the rewards in these 6 floors can be taken by me. These rewards are extremely valuable. If I take them all, my wealth would grow by at least 60 times that of my current foundation. Fang Yuan had his plans, but currently he could not touch these rewards. Heilu Lan had gathered some experts and was at the final round of the 5th floor. Soon, he was going to obtain a 1-edge owner token. With this token, he could check any floor's round rewards in 88 True Yang building. If Fang Yuan took the rewards, wouldn't he reveal himself? At the final moment, when Imperial Court Blessed Land is about to close and everyone gets sent out, I will take the rewards then. By that point, nobody would know a thing. Bam! The bear paw smacked and the earth quaked. Rocks were sent flying like shrapnel. As the smoke dispersed, a huge bear paw the size of 5 to 6 horse carriages was lifted, showing a huge crater. The rank 4 goo master who was unfortunately hit by the bear paw had turned into a pile of mushy flesh, mixed with some bone shards and brain matter. Too fast. We cannot react to it. The final round is truly harder than ascending to heaven. This is only the phantom image of a flying bear. It only has half the strength of the true body. If this was really the desolate beast flying bear, we would not even be able to escape. The goo masters on the battlefield were all injured. They were in a pathetic state and felt great lingering fear. It was the phantom image of the desolate beast flying bear that was guarding the 5th floor's 100th round. It had a huge body. Like that of a mountain, it had white, snowy fur, and a full set of goo worms in it. Each were elite goo worms. It attacked fiercely, but moved just as agilely. It could dart around like lightning, which was ironic due to its huge, bulky figure. After fighting for only 30 minutes, the goo masters had already suffered huge losses. Lord Tribe Leader, we should retreat. Our motive this time is to probe it. Now that we have understood most of the goo worms on the flying bear, we have actually achieved our goal already. Sun Shi stood beside He Lu Lan, advising. He Lu Lan frowned, looking around the battlefield. He was an expert in leading men to wars and battles. He knew that his troops had low morale now, since I started challenging the 88 True Young building. This flying bear phantom is the strongest opponent I've met. To defeat it, our strength is not enough. We need even more helpers. He Lu Lan assessed in his heart before snorting and saying one word: retreat. Sun Shi felt relieved in his heart, and not just him. The other goo masters already had the intention to retreat, but because of the Black Tyrant's fierce reputation, no one dared to suggest it. Chapter 582. Fighting Flying Bear. Wolf King gets 50%. Everyone retreated from 88 True Young building, as He Lu Lan gave an order to recruit experts that night. He was the alliance leader that won this contest, according to the rules. The entire army was his to mobilize. Everyone knew about the Black Tyrant's fierce reputation. Together with him opening 88 True Young building to everyone without any cost, they were deeply grateful to him. With both authority and gratitude, He Lu Lan's influence reached its peak. With this order, it created a huge commotion as everyone who was called showed up without fail. Wolf King Chang Shan, Water Demon Hao Ji Lu, Twin Demons Gao Yang and Zhu Zai, Little Ma Zun Ming Jie, Fox Commander Tang Miaoming, White, Fairy Shi Shui, Shadow Sword Expert Bian Xixian, Tai Bai Yunxing, Lu Shuang, Tao Yu, Gu Guolong, Dou Yi, Nie Yiqing, Yi Lui Sang. On the day of the alliance meeting, the hall was filled with shining stars as heroes and conquerors whipped up a huge storm. Old sir, with you here, it is like having a giant pillar of support. We do not have to fear about low morale. Ha ha ha. He Lu Lan sat grandly at the main seat, looking around and laughing with great ambitions. Among those who were present, Tai Bai Yunxing had the greatest reputation. He healed people all over the land. Countless people were indebted to him. Even He Lu Lan or Chang Shan could not compare to him. But the person who sat next to He Lu Lan was not Tai Bai Yunxing, but Wolf King Chang Shan. Reputation was something, but battle strength was another aspect. After the Imperial Court contest, everyone agreed that Fang Yuan's battle strength was the greatest. Dual Path Cultivator, Flying Master, Enslavement Master, all these auras gathered into one person. It was dazzling and overwhelming. Thus no one had any disagreements regarding Fang Yuan's position. Thus, after He Lu Lan talked to Tai Bai Yunxing, he turned around to Fang Yuan. Brother Shan, we will need to count on you for this battle. If we get through, you will earn half of the rewards. He understood Fang Yuan's nature. He would not act without benefits. Thus he gave such a tempting offer. The final round's rewards were nothing ordinary. Once He Lu Lan spoke, he gave half the benefits to Fang Yuan. This meant that he, along with the others, would have to share the remaining half of the rewards. As their interests were concerned, some discussions could be heard in the hall. Many people were indignant regarding this allocation, but no one had the guts to openly oppose Black Tyrant's arrangements and defend the Grand Wolf King in this hall. Very well, we will go with that. Fang Yuan nodded. His arrogant gaze swept the hall, as the voices came to a stop. Why has Elder Pan Ping not arrived yet? He Lu Lan asked around. Pan Ping was born in the demonic path. Nowadays he had entered He Tribe and become an external elder. As the current He Tribe leader, He Lu Lan's orders did not summon Pan Ping. He Lu Lan was extremely displeased by this. Actually, not just Pan Ping. Chang Tribe's first elder Chang Biao was not present either, but Chang Biao was a Chang tribesman. He Lu Lan had to ignore it because of Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan did not react. The information regarding the deaths of Pan and Chang had not been spread yet. Challenging 88 True Young building normally took several days or even half a month. The tougher the rounds, the longer it would take. Especially someone like Pan Ping, as a person without giant sun bloodline. He would incur huge expenses when he entered 88 True Young building using the guest token. Precisely because of this, these outsiders treasured their opportunity in entering the building. If possible, They would not leave it unless they had no other choice. He Lu Lan's words had just been spoken when his attendant He Shu stood up and reported. Reporting to Lord Tribe Leader, Elder Pan Ping and Lord Chang Biao had gone into the 7th floor not long ago. I have sent people to inform them, but the 7th floor's layout is very confusing. It is like a huge maze. The maze prohibits the use of letter Gu, and there are even wild wolf groups deep inside. The servants have tried to find them for many days, but they only found some battle traces. They could not find the 2 lords. He Lu Lan snorted as he waved his hand. Then forget it. We will not wait for them. The guest tokens are ready. We will depart tomorrow morning. By the 2nd day, everyone grandly charged into the 5th floor. This was the largest force that had gathered to enter 88 True Young buildings since it was formed. It attracted countless gazes in the sacred palace. The final round of the 5th floor was a barren and desolate mountain. Brown soil, hard as steel rocks, with no grass or plants. The moment everyone entered, the flying bear phantom was alerted and growled, tearing through the air and causing a thunderous noise. Swoosh. They saw, in the dark yellow sky, a white whirlwind come crashing down. The experts retreated at once. The flying bear phantom crashed on the ground with a loud bang. The earth shook as intense winds blew, causing many to lose their balance. Ferocious indeed. Pei Yin Fei's expression was solemn. If he had been hit directly, he would be heavily injured if not dead. It was thanks to tribe leader He Lu Lan's reminder. If not, the moment we came in we would have been attacked by this bear. Gu Guolong looked at the howling flying bear inside the crater and said with lingering fear, "This is called learning from past experiences. The last time we came here, we were sneak attacked by the flying bear. 5 experts died on the spot." He Shui gritted his teeth, saying with deep hatred, "Brother Shanin, the rest is up to you guys." He Lu Lan urged. According to their battle plan earlier, the first wave of attack should be unleashed by the enslavement Pathgu masters, in order to wear down the flying bear phantom's battle strength, without any words from him. Large numbers of wolves came from all directions, from the sky and land, charging and attacking the flying bear phantom. In the sky, there was the azure wolf group. On the ground, there were the wide eyes wolves, frenzy wolves, blood forest wolves, and others. Ordinary wolves numbered to over 400,000. At once, the wolves engulfed the area, charging like the huge waves of the Great Sea, submerging the island like flying bear phantom. Roar. The flying boar roared, shaking heaven and earth. Howl. The wolf groups were not to be outdone. Howling in a similar fashion, the battle ensued, whipping up a bloody storm. The flying bear phantom's forepaws slammed, killing at least dozens of wild wolves with one strike. The ordinary wolves could only be a disturbance to it. Only the mutated beast groups could pose a threat and cause injuries to the flying bear phantom. But the essence of enslavement path had always been to overwhelm quality with quantity. Expending the enemy's energy to their greatest limit, Fang Yuan manipulated the wolf group, attacking as freely as the wind, or as crushing as the snow. The flying bear phantom seemed to have sunk into a deep swamp, even with its frenzied attacks. It could not break through the encirclement. Now this is a master-level attainment. Wild beasts are beasts, without a human's intelligence. They are being toyed around by Chang Shanin. The beast groups are like a work of art under Wolf King's control. Everyone was in a daze. The enslavement Gu masters Tang Miaoming and He Qisheng could see the brilliance of his actions, feeling a strong sense of admiration and adoration towards Fang Yuan. But the good situation did not last. The flying bear phantom suddenly stopped its actions, opening its mouth and exhaling. With this, the world changed colors, as starlight shone brilliantly to form into a river. Rank 5 Star River Gu. The Star River poured down, like a dragon or python. It engulfed the places it went, be it frenzy wolf or blood forest wolf. They were swept away by the Star River. Some were holding their ground desperately with their defensive Gu, but those that did not have defensive Gu were turned into stardust. At once, the wolf group suffered huge losses. Fang Yuan's gaze was unmoved. It was as if the losses did not affect him, and he did not stop for now. Only until half the wolves were left did he order them to retreat. Tang Miaoming and He Qisheng quickly ordered their beast groups to replace the wolves. These two, one was called Little Fox Commander with Quasi-Master Attainment. In terms of enslavement attainment, she was second to Fang Yuan alone in the Sacred Palace. The latter was an enslavement Pathgu master nurtured by the super force He tribe. Although he had not attained master-level skill, he had deep foundations and great strength. Tang Miaoming controlled the fox groups, while He Qisheng controlled the eagle groups. One dominated the sky while the other was on the ground. But the flying bear phantom was getting more ferocious. After the Star River had fully looped around in a ring, it clapped its paws together, roaring again as an intense wind blew, and clouds formed from nothing. In an instant, the intense wind turned into tiger-shaped wind tigers, while the clouds turned into dragon-shaped cloud dragons. Rank 5, Wind Tiger Cloud Dragon Goo. Thousands of wind tigers and cloud dragons charged forward, facing the foxes and eagles' head. At once, the battlefield was in chaos as blood rained and the pungent smell spread. Oh no, at this rate, Tang Miaoming's forehead was full of sweat. Her head was hurting as she was gritting her teeth desperately. The battle was too intense. She wanted to preserve her fox group. Though she manipulated them very meticulously, it caused her soul to be greatly worn out, and she was reaching her limit. As for He Qisheng, his situation was even worse than hers. The fox group could still resist the enemy, but a large proportion of He Qisheng's eagle group had already been killed by the wind tigers and cloud dragons. They were in disorder, and he could not attend to one aspect without neglecting another. The other Gu masters retreated time and time again. But they did not show any surprise. Star River Gu and Wind Tiger Cloud Dragon Gu were exposed in their previous probing. Everyone was prepared for them. Have you finished the investigation? He Lulan asked an investigative Gu master beside him. The investigative Gu master was very nervous. He sat on the ground as he activated his Gu worm wholeheartedly. His forehead was folded into a frown as he replied with a trembling voice. Star River Gu's location has been found. It is in the flying bear's mouth, on the largest tooth on the left side. As for the other Gu worms, we have to continue searching. It was different to deal with beasts compared to Gu masters. All the Gu worms on the wild beast are wild. They can be captured. Gu worms on Gu masters were usually refined already. He Lulan ordered his men to search for the location of the wild Gu because of this. As long as they can capture the wild Gu on the flying bear's body, it would be much easier for them to destroy the flying bear phantom. Even if they could not capture it, it would suffice if they destroyed the Gu. Gu worms were very fragile on their own, even for spring-autumn cicada, which was rank 6. Fang Yuan just needed to squeeze lightly to squish it. Wild beasts did not have apertures. The wild Gu resided in their bodies. This was a huge weakness. He Lulan snorted, shouting, "Continue searching." He was not pleased with this result. The Star River Gu was inside the flying bear's mouth. The difficulty to capture it was too high. During their conversation, the battlefield situation was getting worse. Tang Miaoming and He Qisheng are slowly becoming unable to resist. Pei Yinfei said with a heavy expression, "The flying bear's attacks are too ferocious. Luckily, the wild beasts are attracting its attention. But even if the foxes and eagles die, we can replenish them. Our motive of weakening the enemy has been achieved." Sun Shihan stroked his beard as he evaluated. Chapter 583. Killing Flying Bear. Accident at the final moment. Although wild Gu absorbed energy from the air directly, being able to use their abilities freely without any limits on primeval essence. But during an intense battle, towards the end, the wild Gu would become more and more passive. If they sensed that the battle was going south, they would leave their host and escape on the spot using their instinct of sensing danger. Thus, when attacking a wild beast, especially beast kings or desolate beasts, during the first half of the battle, it would usually contain the most firepower. After a while, the attacks would slowly become weaker and less oppressive. Even so, we cannot allow the fox group and eagle group to suffer such losses. We should invite Lord Chang Shanin to step in. At the side, He Xiui said, "Step in? To what end?" Fang Yuan folded his arms, scoffing arrogantly as he heard this. "According to our battle arrangement, I will strike first while the two of them take over after me. With such intervals, we have to each hold on for 15 minutes. Right now, they have not even been there for half the allocated time. It is not time for me to step in yet." If they entered the battlefield now, the wolf group would only face the cruel slaughter of the flying bear phantom, although it would weaken the flying bear phantom as intended if he could reduce his losses. Fang Yuan was very willing to watch on the fence. As for the others' losses, was that Fang Yuan's problem? He Xiui was furious upon hearing this, but because of Fang Yuan's status, he could only hold in his anger. "Lord Wolf King, everyone is putting in their full effort for this battle. Right now Tang Miaoming and He Qisheng are fighting with their life, but Lord is watching by the side. Isn't this too much? You dare to lecture me?" Fang Yuan frowned as his killing intent surged. Although he was folding his arms, a monstrous arm grew out from his back. The monstrous arm was extremely powerful and strong, but it also moved extremely fast. directly assaulting He Xiuyi. Never in He Xiuyi's dreams did he think that Fang Yuan would dare to publicly, and especially during such an important battle, try to kill him. Before the fist hit, he felt the intense winds blowing towards him, causing his face to feel pain already. An incomparable feeling of fear and danger instantly filled his heart. The crucial moment. His battle senses from many years of fighting saved his life successfully. He reacted before even thinking, activating his defense gu and putting up 3 lines of defense. He was a defensive gu master originally. And because his specialty was defense, He Lulan had once sent him to Fang Yuan as a form of protection. But during the battle, He Xiuyi cherished his own safety and forgot about his mission, abandoning Fang Yuan on the battlefield. The monstrous arm was unstoppable. It smashed the 3 defenses quickly and hit his chest. Crack. A crisp sound could be heard. He Xiuyi's rib bones were all crushed. The monstrous strength sent him flying like a cannonball. He vomited blood while flying in the air. Then with a rumble, he crashed on a small mound several hundred steps away. When the sound of the impact was heard and the dust settled, he was half embedded into the mound, falling unconscious and losing his battle strength. Lord Wolf King. What happened? What happened? Why did they fight? He Xiuyi urged Lord Wolf King to battle. The two could not get along, and Wolf King suddenly burst into anger, sending He Xiuyi flying. Seeing such a shocking event, everyone was gasping. Internal conflicts were always so sudden, so severe. He Xiuyi's identity was not simple. He was one of the 3 commanders of the Black Banner Army, an important person within the He tribe higher-ups. Fang Yuan attacking him with such intensity was no different than openly taunting He Lulan. Once He Lulan and Chang Shanin stood on opposing sides, this battle would not only end up in failure. The entire sacred palace would also fall into political turmoil. Wolf King, what happened? I would like to hear your explanation. He Lulan's expression was like still water as he came over to question Fang Yuan. He usually called Fang Yuan brother Shanin to show their close relationship, but now that he called him Wolf King, it showed his anger. But no matter how angry he was, would Fang Yuan be afraid? Immediately, Fang Yuan stared back at him with no fear. His killing intent dispersed as he snickered. Tribe leader He Lulan, you came at a good time. Your subordinate was truly stepping out of line. He dared to lecture me? Such a lack of respect with a complete disregard for seniority. I punished him for you. No need to thank me. Don't forget about our friendship after all. Using disrespect and seniority, he sent 2 reasons over just like that. His final sentence mentioning our friendship had even deeper meaning. It was like he was trying to say that they had a great friendship. But it could also mean that they had no friendship at all. He Lulan stared furiously. This Chang Shanin is too arrogant. He dared to hit my man. Looking at his lawless manner, does he really think I cannot do anything to him just because of his great battle strength? Black Tyrant roared in his heart. He was cultivating dark path on the surface, but in truth, because of the great strength true martial physique, his real cultivation was in the strength path. His battle strength was superb, but he could not use his strength path methods because that would accelerate the disaster of one of the 10 extreme physiques. I'll endure it. Right now, we are at the crucial moment of attacking the flying bear phantom. If we get into an argument now, it would all go to waste. What is most important now is to find my strength path immortal gu and descend to become a gu immortal. As long as they killed the flying bear phantom this time, He Lulan would be able to get through this floor and his owner token would immediately become a 1-edge owner token. With the 1-edge owner token, he would be able to inspect the reward of any round of any floor. The one with the strength path immortal gu would be his focus and target. Precisely so, it was extremely important to kill the flying bear phantom, even with He Lulan's temper and cruelty. He had to endure it. I'll let you be arrogant for once. One day, I will make you kneel down at my feet and lick my toes. If I tell you to shut up, you will keep quiet. If I ask you to bark, you will wag your tail. He Lulan was extremely furious. Veins were popping on his forehead, but his eyes were fixed on Fang Yuan intensely. Just as everyone was feeling a heavy atmosphere from this silence and were feeling uneasy, He Lulan suddenly raised his head and laughed loudly. Good. Brother Shanin did a good job. Such a disrespectful person should be taught a lesson indeed. This was akin to He Lulan taking a step back. Those who knew his poor temper were all shocked. His tribesman was beaten till he was unconscious in public. He Lulan actually agreed with him? Wolf King is too strong. He did not care about the superforce He tribe. Now even He Lulan need to take a step back. Bullshit. This is tribe leader He Lulan caring about the big picture. He did not want to stoop to the level of Chang Shanin. Chang Shan beat his He tribesman. One day, he will pay the price. Everyone had their comments as they conversed in secret. Roar. The flying boar's roaring attracted everyone's attention again. The eagle and fox groups were facing great losses. I have let down all the lords. He Qixing's nose was bleeding. His face was full of shame. Tang Miaoming's expression was pale, as her slim body was swaying with weakness. Protect the two of them. Tai Baiyunshin shouted. Both of you have had a huge contribution to this. I can see your sincerity. After this battle, you will be greatly rewarded. He Lulan had an amicable expression as he came forward to console them. The flying bear lost its obstacles and charged forward towards everyone. By right. The wolf group should be charging up to continue weakening the bear. But He Lulan looked at Fang Yuan, who was folding his arms arrogantly, not saying a word. In fact, his wolves were retreating faster than anyone on the battlefield. I'll endure. One day, I will make you pay a huge price. He Lulan gritted his teeth, knowing that he could not make Fang Yuan do anything. If he forced Fang Yuan and got rejected in public, he would take a huge hit to his reputation and be deeply humiliated. Thus, He Lulan shouted loudly, strike. Initiate the second step of the plan. Go. Immediately, two people flew out like lightning. One was a slim and elegant person wearing a fluttering blue dress. It was white fairy Shi Shui. The other was muscular and stable, wearing a yellow robe. It was Gu tribe leader Gu Guolong. White fairy Shi Shui flew into the air. Her sleeves were waving as she shouted in an alluring manner, causing snow to descend immediately. It was her signature rank 5 Gu worm. Flying snow Gu. Guolong ran on the ground. His legs were moving like turbines. Everywhere he went, smoke rose as rocks were sent flying. It was also a rank 5 Gu, called flying sand moving rock. At once, white snow was floating in the air, while sand and rocks were rolling on the ground. The giant mountain-like flying bear phantom was stuck between the snow and sand. Its speed reduced drastically as its vision was also obscured. It roared loudly, waving its paws in the snow and sand. But the air currents generated from its attacks made the sand and snow even more intense, blurring its sight. Seeing this, He Lulan laughed cruelly, ordering, third step. This time, almost 10 people charged into the battlefield. Every one of them was an expert. There was Bian Xixian, Hao Jilu, Pei Yinfei, Gao Yang, Xu Zai, Dou Yi, Nie Yiqing, Tao Yu, Lu Shuang. These Gu masters were either rank 4 peak stage or rank 5 experts. Adding in Gu Guolong and Shi Shui, they were truly a powerful formation. They drilled into the snow and sand, attacking furiously towards the flying bear phantom. The flying bear phantom roared continuously. It was very agitated and attacked randomly, but had little effect. On the other hand, the Gu masters had used their investigative Gu worms from the start. Their vision was clear as they constantly avoided the bear while unleashing strong attacks. Pei Yinfei grew wings as his swallow wings were like scissors tearing through the sky. Swallow wings Gu. Golden coat Gu. Rainbow transformation Gu. Killer move, golden rainbow strike. He turned into a golden flash of lightning as he charged down with fierce crackling. The flying bear roared in pain. Blood was spewing as a huge injury appeared on its chest, from the left shoulder to its right waist. Nie Yiqing followed closely after. He was a rank 5 Gu master, using the iron hook silver slash Gu. His palm formed into an eagle claw shape as he aimed at the flying bear phantom, slashing with his fingers. Immediately, several flashes appeared in the air. Some were as dark as steel while some were shining like silver. His claws continued to tear at the sky as countless flashes attacked the flying bear phantom's eyes, nose, and mouth. Nie Yiqing attacked its weak points, causing the flying bear to take the hit passively. Overlapping shadow. Bian Xixian shouted lightly as the shadow sword in her hand waved. A dark sword shadow flew several hundred steps and attacked the flying bear's right leg noiselessly, leaving a 10-meter-long wound. Protect me. Yi Lui Sang shouted, raising both his palms as a fireball appeared above him, growing and expanding at a rapid speed. The fireball became larger and larger as the battlefield was dyed red. The light from the fireball could not be concealed by the snow and sand. The flying bear felt the danger too and struggled, charging towards Yi Lui Sang, who was in the air. But the next moment, it was attacked by Dou Yi, Gu Guolong, and Tao Yu. Dou Yi was a transformation path Gu master, turning into a giant crocodile as he battled and retreated. He opened his mouth, shooting out his teeth one by one. The teeth hit the flying bear's body and were embedded into it. In a few breaths' time, they exploded. causing the flying bear's body to be covered in flesh and blood. Gu Guolong waved his sleeve, and dozens of goo worms flew out. These goo worms landed on the ground, causing the earth to grow into a mound. The mound broke, and rockman-like giant statues appeared, standing up and attacking the flying bear. Phantom. Tao Yu was an Earth Path Goo master, but he and Gu Guolong had different methods. He continued to absorb the earth energy as he gathered it into himself. Next, he punched consecutively, with each punch shooting out earth energy. Flying in the air, they transformed into meteors and crashed onto the flying bear's body. Bam bam bam. As the intense meteors collided, the flying bear's attacks towards Yi Luisang slowed. Finally, Yi Luisang was finished with his charging, and he pressed his palms down, as a giant fireball was sent down like a descending mountain, hitting the huge flying bear Phantom without regard for its welfare. Bam! With an intense explosion, ears were deafened. The intense wind stirred, spreading everywhere, blowing the snow and sand away to the edge of the battlefield. The Goo masters who were there were blown by the intense winds, getting shocked as their clothes and hair were pulled along by the wind. When the dust settled, a huge crater formed on the battlefield. All around the deep crater, a sand-like surface could be seen due to the strong heat from the fire. The flying bear Phantom was curled up into a ball, making no sounds. Its body was covered in 5 lights that were interchanging: black, white, red, yellow, and azure. Rank 5 5-element bearskin goo. This goo could greatly reduce the damage from metal, wood, water, fire, and earth path goo worms. But under the attacks of so many experts, the flying bear's body was covered in injuries as blood spewed everywhere, and some injuries were so deep bones could be seen. Gu masters were standing at the edge of the crater, watching the flying bear. Although the flying bear was strong, after 2 rounds of battle, such results had been obtained. Be careful, do not forget that it still has the Grand Chaotic Dance Goo. Sun Shi Han reminded. The Goo masters had a serious expression as some nodded lightly. Grand Chaotic Dance Goo was a rank 5 goo. It could cause the flying bear to go into a frenzied state, increasing its strength and speed greatly. At the same time, its 4 limbs could be twisted at will. Once this wild goo was activated, the flying bear's danger level would surge. If one was not careful and got caught, they might be turned into meat paste in no more than a few breaths' time. What's there to be afraid of? Don't forget we have old Sir Tai Bai here. Whoever charges first will be heavily rewarded by me. He Lulan shouted. His promise of rewards made the Goo master's eyes shine brightly. When great rewards are offered, brave people emerge. I'll do it. Hao Jilu shouted, whipping up a wave as he charged towards the flying bear. Under everyone's gazes, he advanced towards the flying bear quickly. 1,000 steps, 500 steps, 300 steps. The flying bear suddenly raised its head. Its eyes were blood red as it growled loudly, shooting out an invisible air bubble. The bubble expanded at lightning speed, covering both Hao Jilu and the flying bear. As it contracted quickly and vanished completely. In an instant, the flying bear and Hao Jilu both vanished. Chapter 584. Demise of Water Demon. Fang Yuan's enlightening words. With such a sudden event, everyone's expressions changed. What happened? Where did they go? He vanished. Don't tell me this round has some secret behind it? Everyone was guessing as they discussed among themselves. He Lulan was frowning, feeling very perplexed. Sun Shi Han's expression was grim and uncertain. He seemed to have thought of something as he spoke in a hesitant manner. Is it the battle space goo? Battle space goo? At once, everyone's attention was focused on Sun Shi Han. He Lulan's eyes shone with brilliance as he said deeply, this is indeed a space path goo worm. But if it is the battle space goo, then Elder Hao Jilu is in trouble. Battle space goo vanished for so many years. To think it would reappear here today. Tai Bai Yunxing sighed. It seemed he had confirmed it. He had obtained an immortal inheritance from the old beggar. He naturally had great knowledge. What is the battle space goo? Everyone asked. Why Yi Luisang's gaze was grave. He was the current tribe leader of Yi Lui tribe, a super tribe. But because they lost, he had to join He tribe. He owned a mysterious fire path immortal goo. He was well learned and had a wealth of knowledge. At this point, he started explaining. The battle space goo is a rank 5 space path goo worm. Once activated, it can send both the enemy and the user into a unique space. In there, they will fight to the death, so only when the winner is decided, or when the time runs out, would they be released from that space. Sigh, to think that the flying bear had such a goo worm hidden. He Lulan sighed as he looked at the sky, speaking with a hateful tone. Everyone's expression was grim as ever, expressing their worry towards Hao Jilu's safety. The flying bear Phantom was so strong. Even with everyone's combined strength, they could not kill it. How could Hao Ji-lu face it all on his own? The result of this match could be easily predicted by anyone. The Flying Bear wins and Hao Ji-lu loses. Although Hao Ji-lu had first-rate escaping methods like water image goo, Yi Lui Sang had already said that the space created by battle space goo would only close when one side has a clear victory, decided by life and death. Even if Hao Ji-lu used all his escaping methods, he would be captured and killed by the Flying Bear Phantom eventually, unless he had an opposing space path goo. But Hao Ji-lu was a water path goo master. Everyone knew that. Even among all the experts present, none of them were in the space path, thus there was nothing they could do to the battle space goo. Maybe there is still some hope. Tribe leader Yi Lui Sang said earlier that only when the winner is decided, or when the time runs out, this time runs out means. Tang Miaoming asked why Yi Lui Sang sighed deeply. Sigh, this time restriction is for goo masters. To maintain the battle space goo, primeval essence will be expended constantly. If a goo master uses it, the battle space would vanish when their primeval essence is completely used up. At this point, everyone lost their hope. The Flying Bear Phantom's battle space goo was a wild goo. Wild goo absorbed the primeval energy in the air, and as the primeval energy in the air was continuously supplied, there was no way for the time limit to end. If we can absorb all the primeval energy in the air, would that work? Yan Xixin gave a very good suggestion. Everyone's eyes were shining, but it was no use. After discussing for a while, everyone found that to deal with the invisible and formless primeval energy, Chi path methods were required. But Chi path was an ancient path. It had once flourished, but had been replaced later by the rising strength path. By now, strength path had declined. Not to mention Chi path. Chi path had been near extinction for a long time. It was extremely rare to see a Chi path goo master. Even though Tai Bai Yunxing had roamed northern plains for so many years, he had only seen 3 Chi path cultivators. The most recent one, who was also the strongest, was Lu Wenwu's sworn brother, the variant human Mo Shi Kuang. But this person had followed Lu Wenwu since long ago. He was part of Lu tribe. Why would he serve under He Lu Lan? Even if he could help, he was an attack-type goo master. He might not have the ability to deal with the primeval energy. In any case, no one could enter Imperial Court Blessed Land anymore at this point. Chi path is not the most important. The most crucial thing is to break the connection between the primeval energy and battle space goo. We do not need to get rid of the primeval energy in this area, Tai Bai Yunxing said as he stroked his beard, but this was something no one could do. Breaking the connection between the primeval energy and wild goo was the signature ability of Restriction Path. Restriction Path was also a rare path. There were very few Restriction Path goo masters. Among everyone present, no one was a Restriction Path goo master. Sigh. Earlier when I obtained a high-grade evaluation and entered 88 True Yang Building's treasure room, I found the Restriction Path. Primeval Break goo. It could be used in this scenario. But who could I have predicted this? I ended up exchanging something else. Louis Shuang patted his thigh, expressing his regret. Fang Yuan was folding his arms, expression and not speaking as he stood at one side. Think harder. There has to be a way. He Lu Lan had just spoken. When the space shook, the huge body of the Flying Bear Phantom appearing before them. It opened its mouth and roared, showing its frenzy nature. Everyone's heart sank. Quickly looking for Hao Ji-lu's traces. If he is alive, they must see him. If he is dead, they must at least see the corpse, but they could not find it anywhere. Quick! Look at the Flying Bear's mouth. Sun Shi Han was an investigative goo master. He was the first to find the trace. Everyone looked over and saw that the Flying Bear's mouth had traces of blood, and there were some cloth stuck in between its teeth. This cloth was very familiar to them. Everyone pondered about it and quickly realized, wasn't this Hao Ji-lu's clothing? They understood at once. Hao Ji-lu was eaten by the Flying Bear. What a pity for Hao Ji-lu, the great demonic path expert, known as the Water Demon, displaying great brilliance in the Imperial Court contest, yet he died at this very place. Fate was full of uncertainty. The cruelty of reality made everyone feel a strong sense of pity and dread. Tai Bai Yunxing could do nothing either, although he had man as before goo. But it needed a target to use it on. Right now Hao Ji-lu's corpse was chewed up by the Flying Bear and swallowed into its stomach. How could he be saved? The goo master's morale fell. The Flying Bear Phantom is too ferocious. How can we fight it? It is so cramped inside the battle space. The Flying Bear has the 5-element bear skin goo, Wind Tiger Cloud Dragon goo, Star River goo, and Grand Chaotic Dance goo. If we fought it alone, who could be its match? We could never have expected this final round to be difficult to this degree. 88 true young buildings rounds got harder towards the later stages, and the final, 100th round was the hardest. Right now, 88 true young building had already created more than 10 floors. The Goo Masters were working hard to clear all the rounds for rewards, but most of them were stuck at the 90th or so round. This final round was the first one everyone had arrived at. Damn it. Morale is so low, it is hard to fight anymore. Do we return empty-handed this time? Lu Lan's expression was grim. This time, they created a huge party for this challenge, yet they lost an expert without gaining anything. This was a huge blow to his reputation and prestige. Disregarding that, what Lu Lan wanted was a strength path immortal goo, meaning he needed a one-edge owner token. If he could not clear this floor, he would only have an ordinary edgeless owner token. If he gave up on this floor and chose other floors to challenge, he would need to expend a lot of time. Time waits for no man, and this too went for him. Lu Lan. Just as the troops' morale was sinking, Fang Yuan slowly said with a calm expression, "What difficulty is there in killing the flying bear?" Once he said so, dozens of gazes turned around to look at him, but soon they lowered their gazes. Wolf King was no longer the Wolf King in the rumors. In the past, Wolf King Chang Shan-in was a great heroic character in Northern Plains, a legend who exterminated Hatu Gu and his band of bandits. The current Wolf King was a flying and enslavement master, the #1 fierce general publicly recognized in this current imperial court contest. During the final battle, he took down the enemy's commander easily from amidst the army, showing his great strength. He had become even more arrogant and aloof, even becoming cruel and ruthless, striking as a means of persuasion. He Xiaoyi, who was nearly killed by him, was a prime example. Looking back in time, there was another example. Sun Shurhan. He had once been attacked by Chang Shan-in in public. His entire face was trampled on the ground under everyone's watchful eye. He had lost all his pride and face. Only Lu Lan's gaze approached him. Only the Black Tyrant had no fear towards the unrestrained and arrogant Chang Shan-in. "Brother Shan-in, I would like to hear your brilliant plan." Lu Lan cupped his fists. Fang Yuan laughed lightly. "It is not a brilliant plan. There is no harm in saying it." He paused before saying, "This battle space goo is quite special, but it is only rank 5. There has to be restrictions on it, particularly in range. In my opinion, as long as we fight it from afar and avoid the range of battle space goo's effect, we will be fine." Lu Lan was shocked. These words truly made him feel as though he was waking up from a dream. Everyone's eyes were shining. Some patted their head as they said excitedly, "I was too frightened by battle space goo's reputation." Indeed, any goo worm had its range of effect. The battle space goo's range should not be wide. Otherwise, it would not have waited for Hao Ji Lu to get close before activating it. Of course, battle space goo was a wild goo, so the range had to be assessed more carefully. "Next, I will manipulate the wolf group and encircle the flying bear. You guys will attack from afar using long-range methods." Fang Yuan commanded. Lu Lan was overjoyed. He could not command Fang Yuan to move. Now that Fang Yuan was voluntarily entering battle, he quickly said, "We will do as Wolf King says." Battle ensued again. The wolf group was inside trapping the flying bear. The Goo Masters were outside unleashing a rain of attacks from afar. Like this, the scene of a group of ants eating an elephant was formed. Flying bear roared continuously, using Star River Goo, Wind Tiger Cloud Dragon Goo, Grand Chaotic Dance Goo, and others, causing great casualties to the wolf group. In contrast, the Goo Masters were all safe and sound. No more deaths occurred. Lu Lan was initially afraid of Fang Yuan withdrawing due to huge casualties in the wolf group, but Fang Yuan showed a strong attitude. He did not retreat even though he was having losses. He even disregarded the wolf corpses. Lu Lan was perplexed, but after thinking about it, he attributed Fang Yuan's reason for not retreating no matter what to his earlier promise. Once they cleared this, Wolf King would get 50% of the reward. What he did not know was, Fang Yuan's true motive was his owner token. Lu Lan wanted to elevate his owner token that suited Fang Yuan's interests. After his owner token becomes 4-edge, Fang Yuan would snatch it away and form the 10-edge owner token, obtaining a giant Sun True inheritance. Because of Fang Yuan's intervention, the scales of victory tilted towards the Goo Masters. Flying Bear's injuries became heavier, as blood flowed down the mound like a waterfall. Roar. Suddenly, the Flying Bear roared again, shooting out another invisible bubble. The rank 5 battle space goo was activated once again. The Goo Masters were prepared for this, retreating. Quickly, But the bubble was targeted at a blood forest wolf. Swoosh, with a light sound, the flying bear and the blood forest wolf vanished. Using the same move again. What's the use? Someone saw this and laughed. As long as we do not get closer, why would we be afraid of the battle space goo? Haha. All of you shut up. He Lulan screamed furiously, showing a very annoyed and irritated expression. Not just him. Fang Yuan, Tai Bai Yunxing, and the others also had a grim expression. Chapter 585. Finally getting through. Fang Yuan requests for an immortal goo. This time, the battle space lasted much longer than before, lasting half a day before it dispersed. The hill-sized giant flying bear phantom appeared once again before everyone. Damn it, just like we thought. Sun Shirhan cried out involuntarily. Humph. He Lulan was also not looking well. There were no injuries on the flying bear phantom's body, a dazzling halo flowing through its snow-white fur. Its eyes were bright, and its battle intent soared high. It had seemingly made a complete recovery. Flying bear had a rank 5 healing goo which had already been investigated clearly at AS for its opponent. The blood forest wolf, which had been pulled into the battle space. Only a pile of white bones remained. Can we still fight it? Even Pei Yin Fei, with his raging battle intent, felt indecisive at this moment. Tai Bai Yunsheng stroked his beard and muttered, no matter how serious the flying bear phantom's injuries are, as long as it uses battle space goo to enter the battle space, it can recover back to its prime state in half a day. And during this time, we can do nothing but to just look on. Right, battle space goo might only be a wild goo and not under the flying bear's control, but a wild goo's sense of danger is very sharp, and when it senses danger, it will casually choose a target to pull into the battle space to protect its host. Doesn't this mean the wolf groups also cannot be used? Wolf groups have to engage in close combat, surrounding the flying bear. Aren't they just the best targets to pull into the battle space? Looks like only us goo masters should attack now. When someone said this, the scene suddenly quietened. Throwing out the wolf groups and making goo masters assault the flying bear phantom was also not feasible. The flying bear could quickly pull a goo master into the battle space. The goo master was sure to struggle bitterly to their last breath, using every method they had to keep on living. There was a very simple way to break the battle space and not give the flying bear enough time to heal. The goo master that was pulled into the battle space needed to immediately suicide. But no one would want to kill themselves. Survival instinct was human nature. Even Tai Bai Yunsheng would not be able to save them. Water Demon Hao Ji Lu's bloody tragedy was a clear example of it. The final round is really too difficult. We have gathered so many people with many heroes, but we are actually helpless against this flying bear phantom with our combined strength. Flying bear quietly lied down on the ground, vigilantly looking at the crowd. It did not attack and only let out low roars. It should not be like this. The crucial thing is we have no way to restrain battle space goo. We don't have methods of restriction path and chi path. Hey tribe leader, I suggest we change the strategy. Yi Lui Sang was also a tribe leader of a super force. Others might not dare to speak up, but he could talk bluntly. He Lulan gave a snort, but did not reply. His thoughts moved like lightning. Looking at this situation, it is almost impossible to resolve the problem of battle space goo. It seems like there is only one way. That is for me to go into battle and make the flying bear pull me into the battle space. In the battle space, I can use my strength path killer move and kill the flying bear. His strength path killer move was extremely powerful. It was a secret technique of He tribe. He Lulan could not take care of the flying bear with just the dark path cultivation which he showed on the surface. But if he used his strength path abilities, with the amplification from his great strength true martial physique, it would not be difficult for him to kill the flying bear. But if he did so, he would be breaking the ceiling effect of Immortal Goo Dark Limit, which would quicken the appearance of the disaster of one of the 10 extreme physiques. The time I have is already not enough. Now if I use my strength path killer move to kill the flying bear, this time will shorten even more. And in this short period of time, I still need to attack another floor, clear 100 rounds, and obtain a strength path Immortal Goo. This difficulty is too large. But if I don't cross this round, I won't have a one-edge owner token. So how could I know about the position of the strength path Immortal Goo? Whether I change the strategy or ask for support from the tribe, they both require time. The worst situation will be if I use the strength path killer move. Kill this flying bear. Obtain a 1-edge owner token. But there is no strength path immortal goo in 88 True Yang building. He Lu Lan was hesitating. This matter concerned his life and death while the path ahead was filled with darkness. Even he could not avoid being indecisive and helpless. It is not difficult to break the battle space. One astonishing sentence resounded in the place. Everyone followed the voice towards its source. It was none other than Wolf King once again. Brother Shanin, you have another method? He Lu Lan immediately asked. Fang Yuan smiled. I should also be making an all-out effort for the 50% reward, right? My plan is divided into 3 steps. First, we will use long-range methods to exhaust the flying bear's energy as much as possible. Second, we will send a death warrior to engage in close combat. He will have to immediately suicide if he is pulled into the battle space. Third, the flying bear will have no time to take a breather, and we continue with long-range battle. We will definitely be able to kill this beast once we maintain this plan. Good plan. How could I have not thought of it? Some people cheered. Some people slapped their thighs loudly in pleasant surprise, while some people inwardly muttered of this plan's cruelty. But no matter what they commented, everyone knew this method could solve the problem that in northern plains where battles occurred frequently. Every single tribe possessed death warriors. It was only a matter of whether they had many or few, whether they were elites or ordinary. He tribe was a super force. The death warriors they cultivated were not only many in number, but were also elites. This way, Tai Bai Yunsheng slightly frowned, disturbed by this plan. Sun Shirhan's eyes flashed with brilliance as he looked at He Lu Lan without speaking. Dying in battle and taking the initiative to throw away one's life were 2 completely different concepts. The former was the honor of the brave, while the latter was those in power bringing disaster to others' lives for their benefits. If this plan was really to be carried out, He Lu Lan, this He tribe leader's reputation would be completely destroyed. This was against the values of the righteous path. Being in the righteous path, their biggest concern was reputation. Those with bad reputation would have a limited achievement in the righteous path. Demonic path was different, no matter what the reputation was. Its main value was strength. Thus, within the demonic path, there was the plague-like Hao Ji Lu, as opposed to the life-savior Tai Bai Yun Shang. Because of this, Sun Shirhan did not attempt to advise this matter. He was a smart man and knew no matter how he said it or persuaded, it would not be appropriate. He had even thought of this method earlier, but did not suggest it. He did not dare. The current Sun Shirhan was already an external elder of He tribe. Once he suggested this, it would be asking to soil his reputation. Would he still be able to stay with He tribe then? Probably only this sinister and cruel Wolf King can say it without any misgivings. Sun Shirhan secretly glanced at Fang Yuan with hatred and fear, his cheeks seemingly twitching in pain. But what Sun Shirhan did not know was, to He Lu Lan, what use would reputation be when his own life was about to be over? When He Lu Lan heard Fang Yuan's plan, he immediately decided to use it, but he still frowned and thought for a long while, hesitating, pitifully sighing, and showing a profound, merciful expression. Finally, he heaved a long sigh and spoke a pile of erudite words. The main idea was, they were forced to use this plan. The tribesmen who die will be given grand burial by him as a brother, and he will personally take care of their family, give compensation, and so on. Everyone knew it, but they could not point it out. This was the game rule of the righteous path. After going through this process, He Lu Lan immediately summoned He tribe's death warriors to enter the battle. These death warriors from He tribe were all of rank 2 cultivation and had been brought up by He tribe since youth, imbued day and night with the ideology of loyalty to the tribe. As for rank 3 death warriors, it was not that there were none of them. But once they reach rank 3, they would become a precious resource, and almost every one of them would be free from the status of a death warrior. Only super forces would have a number of death warriors of rank 3 and even rank 4 cultivation, but they would not use them so lightly. He Lu Lan was this generation's He tribe leader, and if he sent these death warriors to their deaths, they could not refuse him. If the emperor wants his subjects dead, the subjects need to die no matter what, regardless of their will. This was the system. The following battle went without any accidents. The battle persisted till more than 10 death warriors were sacrificed, and the flying bear phantom finally collapsed on the ground, breathing its last. But when everyone wanted to deliver the final strike, they suddenly discovered they could not even budge. What is happening? It is 88 true Yang buildings' power making us not able to move. Isn't this too shameless? Only a move more, and we could kill this flying bear. Everyone shouted and raged at this stupefying situation. Only Fang Yuan's expression was tranquil. He had a 6-edge owner token and knew that this round was over. He Lulan also felt this and immediately took out his owner token, fixing his gaze at it, and saw an edge gradually emerging from the originally round owner token at the same time. A strong sense of fortune entered the depths of his heart, letting him know that he was in full control of this floor. So we had no need to kill the flying bear in this final round and only needed to beat it to near death. He Lulan was exulted inwardly, but showed a mournful expression on his face, sighing. Everyone, do not fret. The battle has ended. We were successful. This round is crossed. Sigh, what happened to my He tribe's children was truly a pity. If not for the battle space isolating the connection between the inside and outside, I would have definitely used puppets or wild goo to replace them. We passed. Everyone was shocked and excited. Tribe leader He Lulan, I wonder what the rewards for this round are. Is it possible to let this old man broaden his horizons? Tai Bai Yunsheng inquired. The motive for him entering 88 True Yang building was lifespan goo. However, lifespan goo was rare and precious and could only appear as the rewards for 90th or above rounds. He Lulan revealed a peculiar expression at the inquiry and pointed at the dying flying bear phantom. That is this round's reward. What? This flying bear phantom? How could it be? Everyone was shocked once again. Only Fang Yuan knew clearly he possessed a 6-edge owner token and knew the rewards for any round of 88 True Yang buildings' current floors like the back of his palm. Before even tackling this round, he knew of this round's reward. It was a rank 6 phantom path immortal goo with a simple-to-understand name. Flying bear phantom goo. Sure enough, at the next moment, under everyone's astonished gazes, the dying giant flying bear gradually turned into an enormous ball of white light. The white light shrunk rapidly, finally turning into a speck of light that flew towards He Lulan. He Lulan quickly received it and carefully observed it. He was the master of the owner token. The reward for passing this round was his. He had just come into contact with this flying bear phantom goo, but easily refined it because of 88 True Yang buildings' power. Fang Yuan's 6-edge owner token was different. It was created from exploitation and could only receive the floor's rewards after taking control of the floor. Naturally, it was not like it could not contest against He Lulan's owner token, but once they contested, giant suns would awaken which would cause a great loss to him, or even face a tragic end. This risk was better not taken if possible. Flying bear phantom goo was looking very dim. Its aura was weak like it was near death. Its condition was extremely poor, but He Lulan was unable to take his eyes off it. What was this? This is an immortal goo. He had just sighed with emotions inwardly when a voice sounded in his ears. This immortal goo. Give it to me. The tone of the voice was flat, but it could not suppress the determination within. He Lulan immediately frowned. He did not need to look around to know who the speaker was. Who else had guts to mention such a request besides Wolf King Changshanin?